The legend of Robin Hood is a cornerstone of English folklore, presenting a captivating tale of a heroic outlaw who robs from the rich and gives to the poor. This enduring narrative is rooted in a complex weave of historical, literary, and cultural threads, making it a fascinating subject when considering the question of whether Robin Hood was a real man in the Middle Ages. At its core, the legend describes a man of extraordinary skill and morality, living in Sherwood Forest with his band of merry men, executing daring heists against corrupt authorities. This narrative not only entertains, but also serves as a symbolic critique of social injustice and economic inequality. The importance of understanding the legend of Robin Hood in relation to the question of his historical existence lies in the exploration of how folklore can blend with reality. Through centuries, tales of Robin Hood have captured the popular imagination, influencing social and political thought. For instance, during the Peasants Revolt of 1381, the call for social justice resonated with the narrative of Robin Hood's rebellion against tyranny. Similarly, the character of Robin Hood has been used in modern contexts, such as interpretations highlighting wealth redistribution debates or serving as inspiration for social movements seeking equality. Supporters of the idea that Robin Hood could be a real historical figure often cite medieval ballads and chronicles that reference similar outlaw figures, suggesting a potential basis in reality. However, these tales have no single definitive source or historical record, leading to alternative viewpoints. Skeptics argue that the Robin Hood narrative is an amalgamation of various outlaws' stories or purely fictional, shaped by evolving social needs and cultural storytelling traditions over time. The legend's connection to the main topic significantly influences how we view historical narratives and folklore's role in shaping perceived realities. It challenges historians and scholars to distinguish between myth and history, prompting deeper inquiry into the societal conditions that give rise to such enduring legends. Additionally, it raises questions about how collective memory and storytelling impact our understanding of history. As such, while the introduction to the legend of Robin Hood provides a vibrant backdrop for discussion, it also highlights the complexities and challenges in tracing the origins of a figure who straddles the delicate line between myth and history. The historical context of the Middle Ages is a crucial aspect of understanding any figure, whether real or legendary, from that era, such as Robin Hood. The Middle Ages, often referred to as the medieval period, spanned from the 5th to the late 15th century in Europe. This era was characterized by a feudal system where society was structured around relationships derived from the holding of land in exchange for service or labor. The Middle Ages were marked by a rigid class system, powerful monarchies, the influence of the church, and frequent conflicts such as the Crusades and the 100 Years' War. Understanding the historical context of the Middle Ages is vital when exploring the legend of Robin Hood. This period was rife with social inequality, a key element in the Robin Hood narratives, where he is depicted as a champion of the poor, redistributing wealth by taking from the rich. The concept of a folk hero challenging societal norms and authorities resonated deeply in a time when the common people were often oppressed by the nobility and dense bureaucracies. Two significant examples illustrate the historical backdrop of Robin Hood's legend. First, the real economic struggles of peasantry during the late 12th and early 13th centuries, often attributed to high taxation under rulers like King John of England, are reflected in stories where Robin Hood opposes the sheriff and other corrupt figures. Second, the forest law, which restricted hunting rights and access to forest resources, serves as a narrative device that underlines the theft of oppressive privilege, with Robin Hood famously poaching deer and defying these restrictions. Opinions vary on the historical existence of Robin Hood. Some historians argue that he may have been a composite of various real-life outlaws, reflecting the discontent and resistance of the time. Others contend that he is purely a mythological construct. This controversy is fueled by a lack of concrete evidence and the evolution of his tale across centuries. Challenges in exploring the historical basis of Robin Hood include distinguishing myth from reality, considering alternative interpretations that see him as a symbol rather than a singular historical figure. The context of the Middle Ages connects to the Robin Hood narrative by providing the backdrop of feudal oppression and public resistance, influencing the enduring popularity of his legend. This period also shapes the themes of justice and rebellion, which continue to captivate audiences and invite debate on socio-political dynamics, both past and present. The heading, Literary Origins and Early Accounts, delves into the historical and literary beginnings of the Robin Hood legend. This concept refers to the initial written sources and narratives through which Robin Hood entered popular consciousness. It includes ballads, poems, and chronicles from the late medieval period that first documented the exploits of Robin Hood, a purported outlaw hero. The significance of this point is crucial when exploring whether Robin Hood was a real man in the Middle Ages, as these early accounts provide the foundational context for understanding how his legend developed, and the cultural factors that could have influenced his portrayal as either a fictional or a historical figure. One significant early account is the ballad A Jest of Robin Hood, dated to around the 15th century, which is one of the longest and most detailed early tales about Robin Hood. It presents him as a heroic outlaw who helps the poor and is loyal to the rightful king. Another example is the mention of Robin Hood in the Piers Plowman poem, written by William Langland in the late 14th century, which indicates that Robin Hood was already a well-known figure by this time. These texts are foundational in understanding the longevity and malleability of the Robin Hood legend. Opinions supporting the idea that Robin Hood's origins are primarily literary suggest that his character was a composite of various historical outlaws, whose exploits were embellished over time. Scholars believe these tales resonated with medieval audiences' desires for justice and social equity, contributing to Robin Hood's enduring appeal. However, the literary origins of Robin Hood are fraught with challenges and controversies. One challenge lies in determining the historical accuracy of these texts, as medieval ballads often blurred the lines between history and storytelling. Alternative viewpoints suggest that while Robin Hood may have been inspired by real figures, he was largely a literary construct that evolved into a symbol of resistance against tyranny. This point of literary origins significantly influences other aspects of the Robin Hood debate by framing him within the socio-political context of medieval England. Understanding the literary origins helps us see how Robin Hood's character was shaped by and reflected the cultural and social issues of the time, such as the struggle against authority and the championing of the common people. Consequently, this insight provides a deeper understanding of why the Robin Hood narrative has persisted and adapted through centuries, influencing both historical inquiry and popular culture. The analysis of historical records is a critical component in unraveling the enigma of whether Robin Hood was a real person during the Middle Ages. This concept involves meticulously examining documents, manuscripts, legal records, and literary works from that era to identify any traces of a historical figure resembling Robin Hood. By scrutinizing these records, historians aim to distinguish fact from folklore, which is crucial in understanding the authenticity of Robin Hood's existence. This analysis not only helps in establishing historical accuracy, but also deepens our comprehension of medieval society and culture. The significance of analyzing historical records lies in its potential to either authenticate or debunk the legendary status of Robin Hood. If substantial evidence is found, it could redefine our understanding of the legend, shifting it from pure myth to a historical narrative based on real events or individuals. This understanding could have implications on how we perceive medieval societal dynamics such as class struggles, law enforcement, and social justice. Two specific examples highlight the importance of this analysis. First, The Jest of Robin Hood, a 15th century ballad, provides valuable insights into the character's lore, portraying Robin as both an outlaw and a hero. By studying such texts, historians can trace the evolution of his legend and link it to potential historical counterparts. Second, legal records from medieval England, such as those documenting criminal activities in Sherwood Forest, may offer clues about real outlaws whose exploits inspired the legend of Robin Hood. Some historians and scholars support the idea that Robin Hood could have been a composite of various historical figures rather than a single individual. However, challenges abound. The scarcity and fragmentary nature of medieval records often leave room for interpretation and speculation. Many argue that Robin Hood is purely a creation of folklore, a symbolic representation of resistance against tyranny. Conversely, alternative viewpoints suggest that he was a mere fabrication intended to entertain and convey moral lessons. The analysis of historical records connects deeply to other aspects of the Robin Hood legend, such as his portrayal in literature and popular culture. These records help establish a foundation for understanding how the legend evolved and its impact on cultural narratives. Ultimately, whether Robin Hood was real or imaginary, the meticulous examination of historical records enriches our appreciation for the complexities of medieval history and storytelling.